You got it? Great. All right. So we're going to run through some old favorites, including our guest intros. We got some chapter updates. We're going to talk about RLF as well. I think, Bob, you're going to talk about RLF. Right, great. Student spotlights. We have Dr. Dan here again. Welcome. As always, he's going to take us through some student spotlights. We're going to talk about program summary. Then we're going to get to the main event, which is our good friend Chase over here. He's going to talk to us about the future of work, which is kind of very interesting. So I'll do an introduction for that. So first of all, though, I think, if I can remember the slide set. Hey. So first of all, I want us all to show our appreciation for PMO Squad for paying for our drinks. Yes. Nobody else cares about anything else, but somebody paid for the drinks. Most people in this room know Joe. Joe's a former board member, of course, but I would like him just to spend 30 seconds just to tell perhaps the new folks what the PMO Squad is all about.
As a former board member over sponsorships, I knew the best way to get people to show up would be pay for drinks. So you're welcome. PMO Squad, very simply, is a project management delivery organization. So everybody in here, I think, runs projects, right? Every company has a project, and we help companies do that better. So we provide resources, we train you, we come in and help you implement project processes. If it's related to project delivery, we do it.
Thanks, Joe. They've also got some cool videos and podcasts and all sorts of stuff, right? If you want to sign up for those, which is really good. Okay, tell us about you. Why you put that photograph of me there? Really? Gosh. You'd think I'd spend a lot of my time on stage, wouldn't you? But anyway, so we'd like to introduce some guests, not the students, because they're going to get their own spot. But anybody who else is a guest this evening, I'd like to just ask you to introduce yourself, what you do, who are you a guest of? Okay, so we'll go start here. I think we've certainly got.
My name is Ron Drake. I'm with Maricopa County Workforce Development Board, and one of my fields of interest is IT. So I wanted to come here and hear what the latest and greatest is in your field and see how we can help.
Student or? Yeah, we can wait for you then, right? Anybody else? Nope. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone. This is my second visit. My name is Russ Bucklow. I'm Director of Development for W.P. Carey School of Business. I'm a fundraiser here at Arizona State University. I'm good friends with Derek Brownell, and pleased to be here this evening. Simon?
Thank you. You a student or a guest? We're going to get to see you then. I think that's it, right? Oh, no, Debbie. Oh, yes. Oh.
Hi, I'm Debbie Black. I am a fractional VP of sales. I am a guest of Derek's as well. He said free drinks. I said, okay. I help companies fix what's broken with their sales departments. Basically, I am outsourced sales leadership. I professionalize your sales staff, and I help you build a blueprint for consistent sales results.
And
hi, everyone. Go easy on me. I'm a liberal arts major. I'm Bill Miller. I am in investment banking. I do business development for 4 investment banks, one in Dallas, one in LA, one in Irvine, and one here. We typically are called on by CEOs of large companies to raise 10 to 100 million through institutional capital and also merger and acquisition work. That's us. Thank you for having me. Now here, guess here, Russ. Thank you, Russ.
very good. Okay, I think that is, oh, one more. Where's that? Oh, sorry, Harvey. I've seen you many times, Harvey.
Hi, I'm Harvey Shrednick. I'm on my 3rd career. It's called retirement. I am a professor emeritus at ASU. I've taught the master's program, IT, for 17 years at Arizona State University. Prior to that, I spent about 33 years in corporate America, retiring early as Chief Information Officer for Corning of 10 years. Also, I was the past president of SIM International in 1995, before some of you were born. I'm talking about the students. And my host is Mike Rohr, who invited me. And Simon, thank you for the invitation.
Very good. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay. Slide skip. Okay, just to remind you, we're in the waning days of membership renewal. So once we get to the end of this month, your previous membership won't be essentially continued, right? So you'd have to have a brand new membership. So if you haven't renewed, please do. This is your last opportunity. We obviously would love to have you continue with us in SIM Arizona. All right. Yeah. Bob, you're up. Pay attention. Talk to us about RLF.
So what is RLF? RLF is Regional Leadership Forum. It is a program put on by SIM International. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about it. I am an RLF grad. I was introduced to SIM through RLF. And, what is RLF? I think that the most important way to describe it is it's a fundamental shift in the way that one thinks. It's an experience that can't be matched in any other way. So what is it though? What is it really? It is a series of 6 meetings throughout the year over a period of 9 months. A number of people get together to review books, movies, articles, and so on that they've been assigned through that time period. These books are all set to help shift the way that you think and the way that you process information. So many of us are from IT. We have an IT background, and we have a hard time relating to people, to our business partners, and so on. But RLF is there to help break us out of that and to help build us into leaders. And so many of you who may have some budding leaders within your company or feel like you can get something out of it that would help your career, I highly recommend it. There's obviously a lot of information on here. I actually summed it up in one little clip. So it's from the movie The Game. We're not going to be able to play that right now because of the way it's set up. But there's a movie called The Game. It's about a gentleman who is given a gift, and that gift fundamentally changes his life. So he thinks that something that's happening around him is part of a game, but then pretty soon his life begins to change throughout the film. And at the end, he completely loses sense of what's real and what isn't. And that's basically what RLF is. So by the time one graduates, their paradigm, if they've gone through the materials and through the training, their paradigm has completely shifted. So there is some time this year. There's still a little bit of time this year to sign up. Since we are in Arizona, the RLF organization is actually out in Los Angeles. So, but it doesn't limit you from sending one of your students or even yourself to another region of the country. So I went to the Boston area because I had business out there. It was a great experience. So the target audience for this program is really anybody that is looking to enhance their people leadership skills within IT. So it's basically anyone. That is correct. Yes. Yeah. The idea is to help people get to a point where they feel like they would be able to get to a VP or CIO or CTO type position in their career. So if you are already there, you may not necessarily need RLF, but there are other organizations within SIM that can help further you in your pursuit of being an excellent CIO or CTO. That's very similar to RLF.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you very much. Very good. And we are delighted to have you as a graduate of RLF. So thanks so much for all that input you do. And all the AV magic is down to Bob. So thank you very much. All right, next. Yeah, Dr. Dan, you're up, my friend.
Do we have another microphone? Okay. Oh, man, I didn't want to do that and mess with them. All right. All right, so who's clicking? Are you clicking? All right, you're clicking. Go. Hey, welcome. My name's Dan Mazzola, and I'm the education director for SIM Arizona right here. And one of the things that I get to do that I love is introducing some of the great talent that we have to all of the great opportunities that you have. So who do we have up first? Please click. Oh, there we go. Oh, we have some. We have a great scholar for us. She needs the microphone though. That would be.
I can't see. Oh, you're
Right
hidden
over there.
behind.
We have
Derek.
Val with us today. Val is a graduate. She graduated in December from the Fulton School of Engineering at the Polytechnic campus, and software engineering is a focus. And she's going to take just a moment or two and tell you a little bit about herself and what her goals are and ambitions in her life. Val, welcome to the SIM meeting.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dan, for inviting me. Like he just mentioned, I just recently graduated in December. So my main focus was mobile applications. I am really interested in like UI and UX design. Overall, I don't think there is like a software I can't conquer. And yeah, I'm just kind of looking around, and thank you everyone that has spoken to me.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So you have to realize that this is somebody that could change your workforce. Okay. All right. So click the next magic button here. I know that it's awesome. Go ahead. All right. So we have Sophia with us, and Sophia is a student that will be graduating. She's with the W.P. Carey School of Business in the Information Systems Department. She's getting ready to graduate. It's very exciting. Go ahead.
Right. Is this good?
Get a
Okay.
little closer.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia. I'm graduating this May with a degree in computer information systems and supply chain. Most of my technical experience is with web development, a little bit of mobile development, thanks to Dr. Dan. I'm hoping to go into software development post-graduation, and I'm very grateful to be here and to get some knowledge from you guys. So thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Now you need to know that there's a little something extra. She works for me. So I know she's been grading and she's been helping out with, so I can add a little bit to the, I mean, they all take the same classes with the same textbooks, but there's something different. Right. And we got a surprise guest with us today. We have Lel with us from the MBA program. So Lel, you get a chance to stand up and say hello and introduce who brought you today.
Yeah, hello everyone. I am very honored to be here today. I was invited by Russ, and thank you, Dr. Dan and Russ for for everything. And I'm a first year MBA student at WP Carey. I'm doing marketing and business analytic concentration, and I came from China last July. My husband, his work relocated here, and so that's why I'm joining this wonderful MBA program. And I worked in China Telecom for 8.5 years before, after my computer science graduation. And I'm super excited for being here today. I'm interested in VR, telecom, product management. And thank you so much, everyone. It's been so great meeting you all. Thank you.
All right. So, all right, fantastic. And I have one more thing while whoever's next up can take the mic away. But there is something that we're noticing that's taking place and we might be able to partner with. One of my jobs is I'm the faculty director for the Master of Information Systems Management program that Harvey founded a long time ago. Thank you very much. We're seeing that employee retention for high potential employees is really staggeringly challenging in IT. We're about ready to do a press release about some partnerships that we're doing where you pay for someone to come to ASU and get a master's degree. They stay for you for a long period of time. It's a win-win-win. If you're interested in finding out more, please come and say hello. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dan. Entertaining as always. Congratulations to all the ASU students and post-grad folks. Wonderful. Okay, so upcoming events. Do you want to just quickly talk about that, Derek?
So yeah, upcoming events, we've got Mary Patry is speaking about leadership coaching. So for those that are interested in learning more about her background in coaching leaders, this is a great program for you. We also have a couple other programs coming up. We have one on application modernization. And so we were talking about how it takes 5 months or 5 months to spin up a mainframe. Nowadays, it takes 5 minutes, right? So application modernization is a big thing. And then we have Brett in the house who in June will speak about leadership communication. So we have coaching, we have communication, and we have application modernization coming.
Derek, thanks so much. Okay. All right, main event. That is such a young looking photograph, Chase, I have to say. I mean, come on, right? You want to plug him in? So, so Chase is what I would classify as a great example of reverse mentoring, right? So obviously Chase is quite a young guy, right? But I always said when I was running IT at HSBC Bank, I always said, the older you get in your career, the more you need younger people to mentor you, right? And Chase, we had a little rehearsal the other day, and Chase got some very interesting things to talk about here in terms of future of work. And it's not just about hybrid working. It's really about the new future of working completely at all, right? It's not if you do, I mean, hybrid may have forced some of the agenda, but I think you're going to get a kick out of this. So please give a very warm sim welcome to Chase.
All right. Am I coming in good? Everybody can hear me pretty well? Well, so thanks everyone. I feel very privileged and honored to kind of be here talking to you guys, speaking with you guys. So what I want to talk about like originally is kind of a high performance team model, right? We talk about, the flex environment and the return to the workplace, right? Yeah, I can hear the reverb on it. So, all right. So we talk about it, but it's like, and one of the comments I said I've talked with TJ a lot about this is we've already solved this problem, guys. Like everything that you do in a face-to-face environment can transfer over to flex and hybrid, right? It's just a matter of, well, what are we doing or how are we doing? How do we interact with one another, right? So what I have up here is a general, like anytime you build a new system or you talk about something, there's like this, a learning curve or a concept to it, right? The students in the room, you'll see this in terms of like your talent and skill development, right? So when you think about developing a new skill or talent, in the bottom you have, but it also works for organizations and companies and systems. So first we have what would be unconsciously incompetent, right? Where you're like, okay, I don't really know. I have a baseline of what I'm doing, but it's like, I really don't know what I'm doing or how I'm using it or how everything interacts, right? And then once you kind of build a little bit of kind of competence and a little bit of, you go from unconsciously competent to now you're consciously competent, right? Incompetent. You're thinking, oh, what am I doing wrong? Oh, I need to improve something over here, or I need to do a little better here, a little better there, right? And from an organization, that's when you start building your awareness, right? Oh, I'm hearing things from my associates. I'm hearing things from my employees. I'm not happy. I'm unhappy. Similar to what kind of Dr. Dan mentioned very early, just a minute ago about like retention, right? Oh, we're understanding what the problems are. And then from there, you're kind of going to go to consciously competent. So now it's like, okay, we understand what's wrong and we're actively working to fix it. That's when you start building your systems, your tools, your processes, your values, your behaviors. And then finally, you end up with the consciously or unconsciously competent, which is we're no longer thinking about it. We're just doing it, right? So very first interactive part of today, so first, by show of hands in the room and then online hopefully with a poll you'll see pop up. Cool. Yeah. So we'll start with the room and TJ will make the poll. Where do you think, when you think about, businesses or places you've interacted with, by show of hands, how many think you would see yourself in the unconsciously incompetent space? Oh, okay. All right. I'll yeah, you wouldn't know, right? So right. You're admitting that. So when you interact with, your teams and your people under it, like, are you seeing like, oh, that's not what I heard? Or do you have a system or tool that shows like, oh, how do you get feedback from the people below you? Does that exist in your company? Does it exist in your business? No, it doesn't. So how do you really know what they want or what they're doing? Or how do you really know that they're happy and they want to stay with you, right? So I'll be the first to raise my hand. Dexcom is unconsciously incompetent, right? We're wildly successful, but there's a lot of things that we can do better. So I'll raise my hand for that, right? So how many think you're consciously incompetent? Right, so we go a little bit more show of hands. So this is where you're like, okay, we know something's wrong. We're going to start working it. We're started talking with people, right? So, all right, the next one we'll have consciously competent. How many think you're in the consciously competent phase? Okay, and then so how many people here are you're unconsciously competent? They have a culture. They have something developed, right? So these are the people like whatever behaviors and systems they have. That's what we got to take. All right. And then, huh? Okay, so just, I'll do visual. Vishwa, Sherry, where would you? Sherry?
I would say unconsciously competent. We definitely have a culture.
All right. Vishwa. Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on. So go on to the TJ. Can you kind of go to the next slide? So the model that I'm looking at is called CP&I, which is content process interaction. It kind of connects company sites, systems, and things together. What most people or businesses will do is they're really good at content and they're really good at process. The content being what? It's an artifact, something you're creating. The process being how we're doing it. What we struggle with is the interaction, which is the human how. The human element, right? And then, so you may be asking, okay, what's a content, what's a process, and what's an interaction? Oh, sorry. By having these three things, you build what we would call a burning ambition or purpose. If your organization and your company provides purposeful work for their people, unless you're way off on salary, I'm talking 30, 35%, they will never leave, because they're getting everything they want. They have purpose in their job. The example I will use that we're doing at Dexcom is we help patients control diabetes. That is what we do. So when you talk to someone who is working, like an operator who's working on the line, and you go, what do you do? Oh, I work this machine and assemble this part. No. You help patients control diabetes. And you do that by having a 5S system. You do that by following your process. You do that by raising your hand when you see something wrong. But it's very important that they understand that it's, we're helping patients control diabetes. So in your organizations, you want to build that purpose. So what do we talk about? So I'm going to kind of look up because there's a lot of words up here and I want to highlight a couple, right? So when we talk about content, so a content is a strategy or, goals, objectives that like an artifact, something you're using to like reference. It could be like a document or something, right? That is content, or your project plan. A process is, like I said, how are you going to do that? So your processes could be something like, project management, continuous improvement, recognition, rewards, some type of leader standard work, right? These are things that are like process. And then lastly, the interaction is trust, relationships. It's very simple, an interaction, right? So how is this look in an organization? And so I'll leverage another one for like we're doing. So our training team in their hybrid environment. So we have people in the office and people at home in Zoom. When they do their Zoom call, the very first question they ask in their meeting, we doing cameras off or cameras on today? And if anyone says cameras off, they all turn it off. And they're doing cameras off for that meeting. Another one because another one that team is doing is they've decided if the meeting is less than 30 minutes, no one is allowed to pull, like it's hard to police when you're doing, no cameras, but if the meeting's less than 30 minutes, no one is allowed to pull their phone out. And if anyone on that team sees anyone pulling their phone out in the Zoom call, no, they'll say, Brett, what are you doing? They'll stop them. They'll literally, you could have, Brett, hey, I see your phone's out. Are you paying attention? Yeah, well, it's also the same thing. Hey, Brett, I noticed you're looking down. Like, are you good with where we're at? But that team has decided that behavior is okay, right? And so every single team or every single organization will have different interactions based on what they believe is okay. And then when you see high-performing teams, winning teams, teams that are excelling, you take those, you codify them, and you make them your process. And so now those organic behaviors are now a part of your process. One for my team that we do is we're not allowed to talk about business until 8 o'clock in the morning. We have people in Malaysia, people in San Diego, and people in Mesa. So until 8 a.m. San Diego time, which is the corporate headquarters, anything before that is how was your weekend or how you doing, or like it has to be like something personal based. And then another thing is before you ask a request of someone, it's, hey, if it's the first time you've Teams chatted them, it's, hey, how are you doing? Or, hey, what's going on? Or, hey, how's your day? And you have to start with that before you make a request. So in terms of like, okay, how do I deploy this model or how do I use it, right? So it kind of comes back to one simple question. Next slide, please. Right. Yeah, you're building the trust, you're building the relationship. So like, because I know you have my back, I can trust that you have the same, like we're all on the same boat. But kind of leads me to this, what we're talking about. So there's the exercise today that I kind of want to present to you guys, and the purpose of discussion is, so the best way to help people understand it is this scenario. Think back to the best team you've ever been on. And so like that, so that's the ask I have today, and that's the discussion. So kind of, I'm going to take 2 or 3 minutes to think back. What was the best team that I've ever been on, right? And then we'll talk about, okay, describe the team to me, right? So give about 2 or 3 minutes to think, and then we'll have a discussion, right?
So while you're thinking, to your question, actually, so because I was asking Chase this the other day, I said, well, if you've got an entirely, I mean, in my day, right? I'm old school, as you probably know, right? So culture was a big thing, right? How do you build culture in an organization? Well, for us, it was, we were all together, right? And we, in the bank in Hong Kong where I worked, we had a bar on the 24th floor, and we all went to the bar after work in the building, right? So we got to know all of our folks, right? And we spoke to each other all the time. We're bumping each other in the corridor. And I was saying to Chase, how do you regenerate that culture completely remotely, right? And I think that was really part of what you were saying is don't just make it work, right? Try to build some kind of culture and human interaction in your everyday remote work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I have the microphone. So you were saying like, typically it's like, oh, let's, at 6 o'clock work's over. We're going to go to the bar. We're going to go out and have some drinks, right? That's going to build the interaction. But like, just because you're not there in person doesn't mean you can't reach out and talk to someone. Doesn't mean you like, after a meeting, you could say, hey, let's, I'm going to do a real quick Teams call. We're going to talk for 2 minutes, right? About this. And one of the other behaviors that it's all about behavior, that the person who kind of introduced this to me and who's kind of been mentoring me, who's like a VP at Dexcom, said to me, he goes, so think about it from this phrase. You have a hot project or something that somebody's working on, and you desperately, all you want to hear is how that project's doing. But that person doesn't need you to ask about it. That person needs to be like, how's your cat doing? How's your kids doing? What are you doing this weekend? And that little interaction, either through like maybe a phone call in person or through some Teams chat, whatever, will mean the world to them, because they're like, oh, you care about me. You care about who I am, right? And then you can start talking about like, well, where are you at on this, right? So
Hang on. They won't hear you.
I think your rule about not talking business before 8 a.m. is really super important. And I'm so glad that you've instituted that. Pre-COVID, I have worked remotely, and I'm sure some of the other people in this room have as well. But something that I had to talk to my coworkers about was the fact that if you do not have a start and an end to your day, you won't have one. And it's very easy to just get up and start working. And then you have no work-life balance, right? And you just keep working until, and especially in IT, especially in a field where you are heads down. So I really respect the fact that you instituted that in your group, and I hope that other people will do that too.
So how do you want to run this session?
all right, so I guess, so who wants to share their story, and then we'll give them the microphone. And if you don't, I will point towards you and we will go that way.
Laura's going to go first. Never a shy wallflower.
So I was just getting ready to tell this story to the table just as we were starting the meeting. And as everyone knows, I've been doing this for decades, right? Like forever. And very often the only female in the room, head bruised constantly, ceilings, whatever. So I've been through it all. And I was just engaged in a very long-term global major business and IT transformation project. And I am being brought in as a strategic lead for the transformation design as well as the project manager. So I was brought in at a significant level with a lot of trust. And in a conversation I had yesterday, and the CIO, I met with the CIO and everybody, they had to all vote me in and all that. So in a conversation I had with the VP of Finance and Business Transformation yesterday, I said to her, I said, you know what? I said, this is my 4 weeks and 2 days I've been on this engagement. And I said, I have never, ever in all my decades, in all my years, experienced a team like this. And I'm on Zoom call, team calls or whatever. And the diversity of generations and cultures and languages and genders, I have never, ever, I've experienced it before, but I've never experienced it where everybody was even, everybody was respectful. There was no gender, there was no posturing, there was no bravado. It's like everybody was very respectful. And I said, I got to tell you, I've never, ever seen this ever. And you know what she said? And she said, it's TQ, who is the CIO. He said he did it. He came in and he realized what the culture looked like and he empowered everybody. So he said, you are empowered and you are enabled to ask questions and to do the right thing. And that created a magnificent culture that I have to say is the most pleasurable I've ever worked in. So I just wanted to share that story.
So before you hand the mic down, I want to ping into it. And you probably said it with the equality, like everybody's equal, everybody can set up. Can you describe what, like maybe one occurrence of a meeting, like just what were some of the things that happened in the meeting? Was it to show equality? Was it everyone was able to speak up and stop the meeting, or like just can you kind of?
Well, to give an example, we're at the very beginning phases, right? We're just starting. We're doing a lot of business requirements analysis, and as you can imagine, the technology team, the IT team, they're at the bit. It's like, just give me my migration tools, give me the data processing maps, just let me at it. Just tell me what I need to code and what I need to do. And there's absolutely no way we can give them that information right now. We're not even close to it. But I do admire their tenacity and I admire their energy for wanting to do this. So allowing them to speak their mind and what their energy wants to have and what to do, and then also to be able to cross communicate where we really are with the project and how they fit and how their energy fits in with the entire scope. That gained two things. One, their ability to speak up and express what it is let us at it, right?
Yeah.
And we were able to say, okay, but in the whole scope of things, here's where we are, and for them to respect that. And so that was a really thing, because we all know we're all IT, we're all geeks, we're all detailed. We love swimming under the, below sea level and getting underneath it. And so that was an experience where we had, I had the CIO and, executive VPs and the people that are going to code this thing all in the same meeting, and being able to respect everybody's roles and speak up. So that's to the CIO, his leadership.
And you're good. And I thank you for highlighting that, right? Because that is an actual another little element of this, right? Which is it has to be driven by leadership, right? Leadership defines the behavior of this is what it looks like in the room. If you're considered a leader and you're letting it happen in the meeting, that's just as bad as not doing nothing is 100 times worse than doing something and be like, okay, well, we learned from it, right? Because you're saying I'm allowing people to do that, and I really like what Dr. Dan said about the the retention pace, because it really kind of sets me up very well. But so the statement of, in order for, in addition to rewarding your high performers, letting your poor performers exist and let them just be like, I'm working my tail off over here on these projects, and like this guy's always late, but we still let him do stuff, right? It's just as bad. So, thanks, Laura, for sharing. Yep. Right.
Cue. No, I think about the teams where I've had good experience, and I've got several examples, but I think the one that popped in my head was one where we had a crazy challenging goal. It was to take 200 million out of IT costs out of a Fortune 25 company. There were 6 people. That's it. Small team. And they set the goal and said, go make it happen. You can go where you need to go. You can talk to who you need to talk to, but you got to do it. And that kind of empowerment when you have a goal and you're just told to go do it. And it was a mixed team. They were technical, they were management, but it was small and a big company. I mean, a 250,000 person company. And of course, you run into a lot of resistance. So I think when you have a kind of a good BHAG, to use the ad card term, it really helps. And then people standing behind you. And if somebody complains, they say, go work with those guys. You got to convince them. So that big, hairy, audacious goal. Just to be polite. Thanks, Brett.
Anybody else? All right, so I am going to call on Derek because he had a really good example outside of tech or outside of organizations with sports teams. Right? Remember what we were talking about when we were walking in?
Very interesting. Okay, so I think this is the right story. So we'll see if it's the right story. So anyway, I played professional soccer out of college. I was drafted, but I was working IT at the same time. And the team that we put together was a team of players from all over the country. And when we showed up to any training session or anytime we were together, everyone shook each other's hands. And that team in particular was just the synergy on the field and off the field was amazing. But it was all about how we connected with each other, when we showed up. And it was the first, what was nostalgic about this is I went to the Phoenix Rising game. That's a professional sports team here. And they were playing against the Monterey Bay Union, which is the team I played for back a long time ago, that won the national championship. And so I saw the same culture in that team still today. Everyone shakes each other's hands. Everyone's really respectful of each other. And so that was the marker for the team in that experience.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing at work just sucks, right? But that soccer was fantastic.
So I'd like to kind of pose a question to the same question to our Zoom group. Sherry, do you have would you like something you'd like to maybe what was the most, best team you've ever worked on?
Yeah. And so can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, super. So very similar to what I've been hearing from the others that have been sharing their stories. One of the best teams that I worked on was really about the relationship piece and the trust that was built early on. What I would say about it that maybe wasn't mentioned by others is that on this team, it was a business team. And although we had several different levels of roles within the organization on the team really operated as what I'd call a flat organization. And so the hierarchy or the role you played was less important when we were working together on assignments. And what was most important was the vision and the outcomes that we were trying to get. Also, we all had a pretty good, clear vision about the outcomes. They were clearly defined. And I think, Chase, you mentioned that about the purpose of the work that folks do and why they're doing the work. And it's not just that maybe they're doing some type of software development, but they're doing it with a purpose in mind, like saving a person. And that example that you used. Were you going to make a comment?
No, I was just acknowledging.
The last thing I was going to add is that the competition was very clear that it wasn't about the people on the team, but the competition was with those on the outside, sort of, our whatever we were trying to accomplish for our customers, and not among us.
Yeah, so you had the trust and the common goal. Like everybody's like, yeah, this is what we're all here for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So kind of anybody else? Looking over
Can
at
we
this
tempt
table,
anybody else?
This table over, they haven't talked.
Sounds like not. They're all shy. Look at that.
All right. All right. So how are we on time?
We are. Oh, we're about right. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Cool.
Do you want to do a wrap?
Yeah. So so the takeaway I want to have as we go back to kind of wrap it all back in terms of remember this, right? In terms of your organization, your business, right? So we have a couple good stories here. Like these are interactions, right? These are things that like, great, this team's working. How do you take it and make it and proceduralize it and codify it? And then also when you're building your team and you're having these interactions, like make it organic and make it a part of that. So like, okay, guys, what do we want to do today? Like, how do we want to operate? And then take that and just make it part of your team's culture. And if you continuously do that in your team or the business or in general, you will have no problem retaining people. You will have no problem getting talent because people will want to come work for you because they're going to be like, all I hear is good thing. All I hear is good things about Brett. I want to come work for Brett because everyone in his team excels, right? And then when you see those good interactions, like, and you identify, oh, this is really great, right? Then you make it a process. I'll end with a little story real quick, just about 30 seconds. You've probably heard the NASA, you've probably heard it connected to NASA, but Liverpool Football Club, right? They're wanting to win Champions League, right? So they interviewed everyone there, and it's back to that whole thing of like, hey, groundskeeper, what do you do? Well, I'm helping us win a Premier Championship, right? He's part of the team, right? And he's connected with it, and that's what you want. You want to be like, hey, what do we do? Or hey, how do we do it? It's like, I feel involved. I feel part of it. Laura's story about like, yes, everybody's happy and empowered to speak up, right? Derek's story about the sports team, and worst case scenario, think about if you've ever participated in sports, think about like that culture, right? I know it's like, jocks, whatever, but no, we want to take some of those things because like those people will, the guy behind me has my back, if I fall down, he's going to pick me up, right? And then, as the strength that you guys have is, how do I take it and make it part of our process? I'm thinking about like Brett's story of, well, how are we going to report out? What's our document look like? Okay, great. That kind of standpoint. How if someone approaches me on my team, what are we going to do about that? Right. And then you empower them, say, nope, you got this. So once again, everybody, thank you for giving me this time. Thank you for allowing me to talk to you. I appreciate it. And I feel so privileged to be here.
Thank you so much, Chase. Very thought-provoking, right? I think. So I was thinking, what would be my story about best team ever, right? So some of you know that I'm a musician, right? So and one thing about being in a really great band is that you just become one, right? If something changes tempo, changes key, somebody misses something, everybody just automatically adapts, right? They don't have to think about it. There's not even much eye contact, right? You're just so in tune with each other that you can adapt, right? And I think the best teams in anything, doesn't matter if it's music or anything else, gets to that point, right? Where you know what everybody's doing, you know what their contribution is to the team, you know they have your back, because if you make a mistake, they're going to adapt and fill it in, right? And that's happened many times, I can assure you. So I think that's a good kind of analogy from my side. Anyway, Chase, thanks again so much. I really appreciate it. You can actually get something to eat now. But before you do, make sure that's turned off. We don't want to hear you chomping away. Yeah, exactly. All right. Okay, so we're still going through our dinner here. So please continue, please enjoy. For those who joined us on Zoom, thank you so much, Sherry and Vishwa. Hope you were able to hear everything well, and that it was a good experience online. But of course, as you can see, the best experience is in person. So be here next time. All right, well, that's the end of the formal program. Stick around, enjoy, chat, network, and enjoy the rest of the meal. Thank you so much. All the best.